Once we have established that there is a need for those transformer based DC to DC converter, right? Uh, that means which is essentially would result in a isolated DC to DC converter. We need to sort of understand how a transformer operates, right, and what is its equivalent circuit and so on, because transformer would be one of the key element in these new category or new family of DC-DC converters which we are going to talk about. So therefore this video, very briefly, I'm just trying to recapture about transformer. You guys may already be aware about transformers. You may have read about transformers in a lot of other courses and documents and books and read it in books and so on. So let us do a quick review of the transformer in this video. So if you see, transformer is, in simple words, is nothing but a core and winding on that core. So let's say this is primary coil, this is secondary coil, right? And one of the thing about transformer is we understand that how to use the dot convention. So what is dot convention? If current is going in one side, right, and it produces a flux in a certain direction. So if this is the current, how would it produce flux? We can use the right hand thumb rule, and the flux direction would be in this way, right? So if the current I1 goes in one of the dot, it produces a flux in the core. Then if the current flows into the dot of the secondary winding, that would further produce the flux which would aid the flux produced by current 1. So if both the fluxes are aiding, that means those two wires can be represented by dots, right? So that's how you get a dot convention. So current entering both the dots must aid flux, right? Or flux produced because of both of them should add to each other. That is how you define the dot convention, right? So how does this dot convention leads to the voltage polarity? So if you see, for example, if this is the transformer symbol I'm drawing, right, and if this is dot, and if we say that the source is connected such that plus is connected to the dot, then on the secondary side we again consider the dot to be plus and the other to be minus, right? So why is that? So when we apply a voltage of polarity plus to the dot, then on the other side also dot becomes positive. If we apply a negative polarity towards the dot, the other side also dot becomes a negative. So how does the polarity converts from a voltage polarity? So from a current dot convention which was based on the current, how does it convert to the voltage? So multiple ways of thinking about it. One of the way that you can see is that there's a dot. So let's say if you force a current in the primary side, right? So you connect your source, right, and you force a current on the primary side. Now this would produce a flux, right? Now on the secondary side, current would start flowing because of the load, right? And obviously the flux produced by the secondary side should try to oppose the flux produced because of the primary side, right? And that would induce, and that's how the voltage will get induced on the secondary and the current would flow, right? So the the voltage will get induced in such a direction that it opposes the flux produced because of the primary side. So therefore, if you see, if you apply a plus here, in the dot current is going in, so in the secondary side there would be a tendency for the current to go out of the dot so as to oppose the flux from the primary side, right? And therefore the voltage, if you see, automatically has to be positive in the dot side because there's a load connected on the secondary side, right? So that's how the dot convention sort of helps you, which was based on the direction of the current and the flux, results in the correlation in terms of the voltage polarity, right? So this is about dot convention. Further, one more thing which is fairly popularly taught in this subject, and which we would be using in the circuit, is the equivalent circuit. So if you see the equivalent circuit, this is how the equivalent circuit of a transformer looks like. Right, this is the equivalent circuit of the transformer. Just move this part a little bit below. So what are these parameters? This is the leakage inductance of the primary, this is the leakage inductance of the secondary reflected on the primary side, this is the winding resistance of primary, this is the winding resistance of secondary reflected on the primary side. This is the core, the resistance representing the core losses, and this is the inductance representing the magnetizing inductance of the transformer. And what is left here is the ideal transformer, right? This full thing is the real transformer. And for the ideal transformer, we do understand that V2 by V1 is equal to N2 by N1 holds good only for ideal transformer, right? Where V2 is this voltage and this is the V1 voltage, let's say. All right, in actual overall voltage, let me call it as, let's say, E1 and E2. E2 by E1 would not be equal to N2 by N1 because there's going to be drop because of the other parameters. Now one more thing which is another thing which is pretty common concern when you discuss about the transformer is that where does the current flow? Is it necessary that current, if entering from one side, would always leave on the secondary side, or can current enter from both the dot polarities, right? So that is again a common confusion. If you take an ideal transformer, right, and V1, V2, I2, I1, right? So you can, ideal transformer, since it does not have any energy storage in it, neither it is producing any losses, therefore because of the energy balance, V2, I2 becomes equal to V1, I1, and therefore the current I2, if the current I1 is entering the dot, current I2 has to leave the dot. There is no other way out because the transformer cannot store any energy in it. This is for an ideal transformer. But for a real transformer, anything can happen, right? For a real transformer, anything can happen depending on what you have connected on both sides. If you have connected source on both sides, current can flow in. I can show you in this equivalent circuit. Let's say you have connected a source here and you have also connected a source here. Now current can come from here, flow in this direction. Current can also come from here and flow in this direction. So both side current can enter the dot. If there is one source, one load, current can enter one dot, leave another dot also. So both possibilities exist. It's not a rule that if current enters one dot, it has to leave other dot. That is only applicable for ideal transformer, right? Then some of you may have also heard of coupled coil, right? Again, this term we do use when we talk about some of the DC-DC converter circuits, right? If you see essentially what is coupled coil, basic structure is still the same. You do have a core and you do have windings, right? What changes is the values of a certain parameters, right? For example, whether how much air gap is required for coupled coil versus transformer, right? Those are the things that would change, but the basic structure, the basic laws of physics remains the same, right? So the equivalent circuit remains the same. Nothing changes in the equivalent circuit. You can certainly represent in a different way, but more or less everything remains the same. So as far as as far as we would talk about some of the circuits next, the words transformer and coupled coil would be synonyms for us, right? Now, instead of going through in too much detail about these topics here, what I'm doing is I'm showing you these two already recorded video lectures. So this first one talks about the coupled coil and how transformer and coupled coils are similar, right? So you can watch this video. It's on YouTube. Either you can go to this link or you can go to my channel, and from there you go to the electrical engineering playlist, and there you can find L12 lecture number 12, right? You can watch it after 1620, this particular video. Then you can also watch L13, which is the 13th lecture on transformers, which talks about the equivalent circuit, conversion of parameters from the primary side to secondary side, what are those equivalent circuit parameters represents, and so on, right? So you need to watch both of them and revise your transformer basics, because the next circuits which we are going to talk about would require those basics of the transformer.